You have heard the advice before. Cut the morning latte, cancel Netflix, buy an S&P 500 index fund, and wait 30 quiet years for compounding to turn your small sacrifices into freedom. Clean, elegant advice printed on a pastel slide somewhere. It is completely useless the second your card declines on a $4.65 cold brew at a coffee shop in Charlotte, North Carolina. A flat, electronic beep fills the air. The barista's eyes flick away, instantly courteous in that practiced, uncomfortable way people act when they are trying to preserve your dignity. Nobody says a word. You pull out another card, tap it, and walk out into the humid morning light, pretending your stomach isn't twisting into a knot. More than 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Engineers, retail workers, middle managers, accountants, salary or no salary, degree or no degree. The advice you were given was never mathematically wrong. It just assumed you were starting from a place you were not. This is not a story about being careless with money. It is about nobody ever pulling you aside to show you what actually separates the people who quietly build wealth from the people who are just spending every dollar they make to look like they have it. Your phone buzzes against your palm as you reach your desk on the 14th floor of a financial services firm in Uptown Charlotte, an Instagram notification. It is a story posted 20 minutes ago by Julian, a senior software architect on your floor who makes roughly $145,000 a year. You tap it. A sleek, matte gray Porsche 911 GT3 RS sitting in the delivery bay of a dealership on Independence Boulevard. The caption reads, "Hard work pays off. Next chapter." You zoom in without meaning to. The window sticker is visible in the corner, MSRP, starting around $241,300. With dealer markups and options, that machine easily cleared $290,000, more than your rent for the next 8 years combined. You set the phone face down on your desk next to your cold coffee. From your window, Bank of America's headquarters gleams in the morning sun, glass and steel towering over the city. You have walked past that building 100 times without ever stopping to think about what is actually happening inside it. Just numbers moving silently through fiber optic cables, changing owners while people below stress over $4.65. Here is the thing nobody explains about a $290,000 car parked outside an office building. It does not mean what you think it means. Wealthy and rich are two completely different financial states that look identical from the outside until you look at the balance sheet. Rich is an active cash flow event. It is a number you can see: the car, the designer watch, the custom suit, the lease on a high-rise apartment in South End. It represents what someone was willing to spend to perform status for an audience that is not even paying attention. It tells you absolutely nothing about what actually belongs to them. Wealth, on the other hand, is the part that never gets posted to social media. It is the unencumbered balance sitting quietly in an account, earning interest while you sleep. It is boring on purpose. It does not perform. It does not crave validation. Staring at your reflection in the darkened computer monitor, you realize you have spent 28 years chasing the version of success that people could clock in half a second. You never once took the time to build the invisible version, the version that only matters when life backed you into a corner. Julian walks past your cubicle holding a fresh espresso, smiling. You smile back, a beat late, your mind somewhere else entirely. You think about your own apartment. You think about the $8,500 balance currently sitting on your Chase Sapphire card, a card you opened 3 years ago for the sign-up bonus points and never managed to clear. You bought an $1,800 leather jacket last autumn because your peers were wearing luxury brands to client dinners and you wanted to feel like you belonged at the table. You bought the illusion of success on a 22.99% annual percentage rate. Sitting at your desk, a different question starts to form in your mind. Not about how to look like you are winning, but about what it is actually costing you to keep up the appearance. Chapter 2. The Math of the Golden Handcuffs. By mid-afternoon, the air in the office feels heavy. You open your banking application on your second monitor, shrinking the window so no one walking past can see what you are doing. You spent $1,800 on that leather jacket 6 months ago. You have been making the minimum payment of $190 every month like clockwork. You open a spreadsheet and do the math properly for the first time, actually reading the fine print in your card agreement. At a 22.99% interest rate, paying only the minimum means that $1,800 jacket will take you nearly 6 years to pay off. Total interest cost, $1,340. That jacket didn't cost $1,800. It cost $3,140 of your future labor. That is the exact moment the math hits you in the chest. Credit card debt compounds using the exact same mathematical engine as a Vanguard index fund. It uses the exact same formula. The only difference is the directional flow of the money. When you invest $1,000 in a low-cost index fund, averaging an 8% to 10% annualized return, time works as your employee. Compounding builds momentum slowly at first, then exponentially, putting dollars into your pocket. But when you carry a credit card balance at 23%, time becomes your landlord. Every single night you go to sleep, the credit card company charges you interest on the previous day's interest. Debt is compounding, working in reverse. You are not just paying for past consumption. You are actively funding the financial future of a bank's shareholders at the expense of your own. The average American household carrying revolving credit card debt owes approximately $7,951 right now. You are not an anomaly, not a catastrophic failure. You are simply the exact statistical median of a consumer economy engineered to extract your future earning potential. You close the banking application, your hands slightly clammy, an email notification pops up in the bottom corner of your screen. A calendar invite from your human resources department, annual open enrollment, and 401k match reminders. You have deleted that email unread for 2 straight years. You always assumed you couldn't afford to put 6% of your salary into a retirement account because your monthly cash flow was already stretched to the absolute limit between rent, student loans, car payments, and credit card minimums. You stand up, grab your mug, and walk down the hall to the office of Dana, a 52-year-old senior portfolio manager who sits 3 doors down. Dana is known around the office for driving a 10-year-old Subaru Outback despite making well over $200,000 a year. "Hey Dana," you say, standing in her doorway. "Do you have 5 minutes?" She looks up from her screen, smiling. "Always." "What's on your mind?" "I was looking at the HR email about the 401k match," you admit, sitting down across from her desk. "I've never signed up. I always thought I needed every dollar of my paycheck just to survive the month." Dana sets her pen down and leans back. She does not judge you. She does not offer a lecture. "Let me tell you something about that match," Dana says quietly. "Our company offers a 100% match on the first 6% of your salary. If you make $75,000 a year, that is $4,500 of free money every single year. By not signing up, you aren't saving money. You are voluntarily taking a $4,500 pay cut and leaving it on the company's balance sheet." She turns her monitor slightly so you can see a simple projection tool. "Look at this," she continues, pointing to a compounding curve. "If you put $375 a month into your account and the company matches $375, that is $750 a month flowing into broad market equity. Assuming a conservative 8% average annual return over 30 years, that single decision turns into roughly $1.12 million. You only put in $135,000 of your own money over 3 decades. Compounding and your employer did the remaining $985,000 of the heavy lifting." You sit in silence for a long moment. You think about the $8,500 sitting on your credit card at 23% interest. You think about Julian's $290,000 Porsche. You think about how you have spent your entire 20s trading real, compounding wealth for short-term status signaling. "Where do I start?" you ask. Dana hands you a simple 1-page checklist. Step 1, get the match today. Step 2, stop adding fuel to the credit card fire. Step 3, automate everything so your willpower never gets a vote again. Chapter 3, The Secret History of the Unremarkable Millionaire. That night, you lie awake in your one-bedroom apartment in South End. The streetlights outside project long, angular shadows across your ceiling. At 1:15 a.m., unable to sleep, you grab your phone. You open a web browser and type a question into the search bar that you have been too embarrassed to ask anyone out loud. How do normal people actually build wealth without taking insane risks? The search results do not lead you to a crypto trading course or a real estate flipping webinar. Instead, you stumble upon a news archive article from 2014 detailing the life of a man named Ronald Reed. Ronald Reed was a quiet man from Brattleboro, Vermont. He was the first person in his family to graduate from high school. He served in the United States Army during World War II, came home, and worked for 25 years as a gas station attendant and mechanic. After the gas station closed, he took a part-time job sweeping floors as a janitor at a local J.C. Penney department store, retiring in 1997. He drove a second-hand Toyota Yaris. He used safety pins to hold his worn denim jacket together. He cut his own firewood well into his 80s. To everyone who lived near him in his small New England town, Ronald Reed was simply an unremarkable, frugal man living a modest life on a working-class income. When he passed away in November 2014 at the age of 92, his family and neighbors were stunned to discover that he had left behind an estate valued at over $8 million. He bequeathed $1.2 million to the local public library and $4.8 million to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, where he had routinely enjoyed his morning coffee and English muffin. You sit up in bed, the dim screen illuminating your face. You read the article twice, looking for the catch. Did he inherit a fortune? No. Did he win a state lottery? No. Did he make a lucky, speculative bet on a single company? Absolutely not. Ronald Reed simply took a portion of his modest, regular wages every single month and bought shares in blue-chip, dividend-paying American companies. He bought shares of Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, General Electric, and JP Morgan Chase. He deposited the physical stock certificates into a simple safe deposit box at his local bank branch, reinvested every dividend payout he received, and then did the hardest thing any human being can do in a culture built on instant gratification. He waited. He let time and human productivity do the heavy lifting for 5 long decades. His strategy relied entirely on a fundamental mathematical relationship known as the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 is a mental math shortcut used to estimate how many years it will take for an investment to double at a fixed annual rate of return. You simply divide the number 72 by your expected annual rate of return. If the broad stock market generates an average historical return of 10% per year, you divide 72 by 10, which equals 7.2 years. That means your money doubles approximately every 7 years. If you invest $10,000 at age 25 and leave it alone, by age 32.2, it doubles to $20,000. By age 39.4, it doubles to $40,000. By age 46.6, it doubles to $80,000. By age 53.8, it doubles to $160,000. By age 61.0, it doubles to $320,000. By age 68.2, it doubles to $640,000. Notice what happens in the final 2 doubling periods. The absolute dollar growth between age 54 and age 68, $480,000, is 48 times larger than the entire initial principal you invested at age 25. That is exponential growth. The heavy work does not happen in the first decade. It happens in the 4th and 5th decades, long after most people have abandoned the strategy out of boredom or impatience. Ronald Reed did not possess secret financial knowledge. He simply possessed absolute behavioral discipline. He refused to interrupt compounding unnecessarily. You close your phone and place it on your nightstand. The air in your bedroom feels different. For the first time in your life, you realize that wealth creation is not an exclusive club reserved for investment bankers, tech founders, or inheritance recipients. It is an open-source mathematical algorithm available to anyone willing to trade social status today for financial sovereignty tomorrow. Chapter 4. The 4 pillars of financial sovereignty. On Friday morning, you wake up before your alarm. You sit at your kitchen table with a hot mug of black coffee, a fresh yellow legal pad, and a black pen. You are done reacting to your financial life. It is time to design a system. You draw 4 vertical columns across the page, writing a single heading above each: income structure, liquidity and protection, systematic accumulation, and debt extinction. This is your framework for building wealth. You start with Pillar 1, income structure. You write down your exact monthly numbers. Your gross salary is $84,000 a year, which translates to $7,000 a month before taxes and deductions. After federal income tax, North Carolina state tax 4.5%, Social Security 6.2%, and Medicare 1.45%, your total tax and payroll withholding comes out to roughly 21%, or $1,470 a month. Health insurance premiums take another $280 a month. Your net baseline take-home pay before any voluntary retirement contributions is $5,250 a month. Next, you establish Pillar 2, liquidity and protection, the emergency buffer. You review the past 6 months of your bank statements. Your essential survival expenses: rent $1,850, utilities $180, basic groceries $450, auto insurance $140, and gas $130. Total, exactly $2,750 a month. To build a true 3-month emergency buffer, you need $8,250 sitting in a dedicated high-yield savings account that is separate from your daily checking account. Currently, traditional brick-and-mortar banks pay a pitiful 0.01% annual percentage yield on standard savings accounts. By moving your emergency buffer to an FDIC-insured online bank offering a 4.50% APY, an $8,250 balance generates $371 a year in passive interest income just for sitting there safely. Then, you define Pillar 3, systematic accumulation, automated investing. You log into your employee portal and officially increase your 401k contribution rate to 6% of your gross pay, $420 a month. Your employer matches 100% of that contribution, $420 a month, immediately doubling your investment before it even hits the market. You direct these funds into a broad market S&P 500 index fund with an expense ratio of just 0.03%. Next, you set up an automatic recurring transfer of $250 every payday, $500 a month, from your checking account into a backdoor Roth IRA. You select a total international stock market index fund to complement your domestic equity exposure. Finally, you confront Pillar 4, debt extinction. You list your high-interest credit card balance, $8,500 at 22.99% APR. You implement the debt avalanche method. Unlike the debt snowball method, which prioritizes paying off the smallest dollar balances first for psychological wins, the debt avalanche method directs every available spare dollar toward the debt with the highest interest rate while paying the minimums on everything else. Mathematically, the debt avalanche minimizes the total interest dollars paid to financial institutions and accelerates your timeline to complete debt freedom. You total your commitments. Essential living costs, $2,750. 401k contribution, $420. Roth IRA auto transfer, $500. Aggressive debt avalanche payment, $1,200. Buffer and discretionary, $380. Total net take-home allocated, $4,830 out of $4,830. Every single dollar coming into your life now has an assigned mission before it hits your checking account. You have removed emotion, impulse, and daily willpower from the equation. You have built a financial engine that operates on autopilot. Chapter 5, The Trap of the Promoted Lifestyle. 6 months pass. It is a rainy Thursday afternoon in late October. You receive an email from your division head. You have been promoted to senior financial analyst. Your annual base salary increases from $84,000 to $98,000, a $14,000 annual pay raise. 5 minutes after the company-wide announcement goes out, your coworker Sarah stops by your desk. Congratulations, Sarah says, clapping her hands. We are definitely celebrating tonight. A group of us is going to Steak 48 downtown. You have to order the dry-aged ribeye. That evening, sitting around a dark marble table surrounded by soft ambient lighting, high-end cocktails, and executive colleagues, the familiar pressure returns. Julian, sitting across from you, holds up his glass. To the raise. Time to upgrade from that Civic, right? I know a guy at the Porsche dealership on Independence who can get you a great lease deal on a Macan S. The entire table looks at you, waiting for your response. This is the exact fork in the road where most middle-class professionals derail their financial destiny. It is called lifestyle creep. When income rises, society expects your spending to rise in direct proportion. You buy the nicer car, upgrade to the luxury apartment complex with the rooftop pool, dine at high-end restaurants, and buy designer clothes. Your cash flow remains completely stagnant despite making six figures. You become a wealthier-looking hamster running on a faster, more expensive wheel. You take a sip of your sparkling water with lime. You look Julian in the eye and smile calmly. Thanks, Julian. The Civic is paid off and running perfectly. I think I'm going to stick with it a while longer. A brief, awkward silence falls over the table. Julian blinks, slightly puzzled, then laughs it off and changes the subject. What nobody at that table knows is the calculation you made in your head before arriving at the restaurant. A $14,000 salary increase raises your monthly gross income by $1,166. After accounting for taxes and higher 401k contributions, your net monthly take-home pay increases by roughly $816. Instead of signing a $650 a month lease on a luxury SUV that depreciates by 15% a year, you open your banking application on your phone under the table. You instantly adjust your automated transfers. You allocate an additional $500 a month directly toward your debt avalanche payment on the Chase Sapphire card. You direct the remaining $316 a month into your broad market brokerage index fund. You capture 100% of your lifestyle inflation and channel it directly into balance sheet equity before your brain ever has a chance to normalize the higher income. You didn't suppress your standard of living. You simply preserved your current lifestyle while compounding your independence rate. Chapter 6. The Anatomy of a Market Panic. 14 months into your financial transformation, it is a freezing Monday morning in mid-February. You open your laptop at 8:30 a.m. and log into your brokerage account. A bright red banner spans the top of the financial news portal. S&P 500 down 4.2% at the open. Tech stocks in freefall amid inflation fears. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, global markets experience severe volatility. Economic growth metrics slow, geopolitical tensions escalate, and consumer confidence plummets. The broad market index declines by 18.5% from its all-time high. You open your Vanguard account portal and stare at the numbers. Your portfolio value has dropped from $32,400 down to $26,406 in less than 20 days. You have lost nearly $6,000 of your hard-earned paper wealth. Your chest tightens. A cold sweat breaks out on the back of your neck. Every psychological instinct in your human biology is screaming at you to log in, hit the red sell all button, cut your losses, and move what is left into the safety of cash. At lunch, the office break room is filled with anxiety. Julian is sitting on the couch, staring blankly at his phone. I just liquidated my entire trading account, Julian says, his voice flat. I lost $22,000 in 2 weeks. I can't watch it go to zero. I'm staying in cash until things calm down. You walk back to your desk and pull out a file folder where you printed a historic study on market downturns and investor behavior. You review the fundamental principles of behavioral finance. 1. Unrealized versus realized losses. A stock market decline is simply a temporary drop in the current quoted price that other buyers are willing to pay for productive businesses on a given day. It is an unrealized paper loss. The moment you hit sell during a panic, you convert a temporary market fluctuation into a permanent, irreversible loss of capital. 2. The cost of timing the market. According to historical data from JP Morgan Asset Management, looking at 20 years of S&P 500 returns from 2003 to 2023, if an investor stayed fully invested through all market ups and downs, they generated an annualized return of roughly 9.8%. However, if that investor panicked and missed just the 10 best trading days over that entire 20-year period, their annualized return dropped by more than half, down to 4.5%. Missing the top 30 best days destroyed their returns completely, dropping them below cash rates. 3. The investor's dilemma. The best trading days almost always occur within 2 weeks of the worst trading days. To time the market successfully, you have to be right twice. You have to guess the exact day to sell before the drop, and you have to guess the exact day to buy back in before the recovery. Nobody on earth can do this consistently. You take a deep breath, you look at your automated investment setup, your monthly $500 Roth IRA transfer, and your 6% 401k payroll deduction are scheduled to execute in 2 days. Instead of pausing those contributions out of fear, you realize something profound. The stock market is the only retail market in the world where consumers run out of the store screaming in panic the second everything goes on a 20% clearance sale. When index prices drop, your fixed monthly dollar contribution buys more total shares of broad market companies at cheaper valuations. This is the power of dollar cost averaging. You close your Vanguard browser tab. You do not sell a single share. You do not alter your automated transfer schedules. You grab your coat and walk out into the crisp afternoon air for a quiet 20-minute walk around the city block. 18 months later, the market recovers all of its losses and climbs to a new record high. Because you kept buying shares automatically throughout the entire downturn, your portfolio balance rebounds not just to where it started, but rockets past $48,000. Julian, who sold at the bottom, missed the entire recovery and reinvested his cash near the peak, locking in his losses forever. Chapter 7. The Asymmetry of Risk and Leverage. It is a warm Wednesday morning in May. You are standing in the office kitchen waiting for the coffee machine to brew when Caleb, a newly hired junior analyst on your team, walks in holding a shiny new stainless steel tumbler. Caleb is 24 years old, energetic, and brimming with confidence. He pulls his phone out of his pocket before you even have a chance to say good morning. "Look at this chart," Caleb says, holding the screen inches from your face. A line graph shows a dramatic, near-vertical green spike. I put $5,000 into a 3x leveraged options strategy on a single semiconductor stock 6 weeks ago using my brokerage margin account. I'm up 340%. I just put a deposit down on a Rolex Submariner at the jewelry store downtown. He smiles triumphantly. "You're still putting money into boring index funds? Man, you're moving too slow." You need to use leverage if you want to make real money in your 20s. You listen patiently. You congratulate him on his short-term win, grab your coffee, and walk back to your desk. You do not envy Caleb. You do not feel the urge to copy his strategy. Over the past 2 years, you have studied the mechanics of market risk, financial leverage, and mathematical asymmetry. Leverage amplifies returns in both directions, but the mathematics of financial recovery are brutally asymmetric. If your portfolio drops by 10%, you need an 11.1% gain on your remaining capital just to get back to even. If your portfolio drops by 25%, you need a 33.3% gain to get back to even. If your portfolio drops by 50%, you need a 100% gain to break even. If your portfolio drops by 80%, you need a 400% gain just to return to your original starting balance. When you use margin or high-risk options contracts, a sudden 20% adverse price swing does not just reduce your balance, it triggers an automatic margin call. The broker forcefully liquidates your positions at the absolute market bottom to protect their own loan, locking in your loss instantly and wiping out your account principal completely. 4 weeks later, the semiconductor company reports earnings. The results miss Wall Street analyst expectations by a fraction of a cent, and the stock drops 22% in aftermarket trading. Because Caleb was holding 3x leveraged call options on margin, his position does not drop 22%, it drops 100%. His entire $5,000 principal plus his paper gains are completely wiped out overnight. His broker sends an automated margin liquidation notice before he even wakes up for work. You see Caleb sitting at his desk at 9 a.m. His face is pale. The Rolex Submariner was never picked up from the jewelry store. He never brings up options trading again. You never ask him about it. You look at your own portfolio statement. Your broad market index funds, owning tiny fractional shares of 500 of the most profitable corporations on earth, fluctuated by a minor 0.8% that day. You didn't choose index funds because you lacked ambition. You chose them because you understood that the supreme rule of long-term wealth creation is not about being right once in a spectacular, high-risk fashion. It is about never once experiencing a catastrophic loss that forces you to start over from zero. Chapter 8. The moment the system crosses the threshold. 2 years and 8 months have passed since the morning your card declined on a $4.65 cold brew. It is a quiet Sunday morning in early November. Rain taps gently against your apartment window. You sit at your kitchen counter with a mug of coffee and open your laptop to complete your monthly financial audit. You open your spreadsheet and update your net worth balance sheet item by item. 1. High yield savings account, $10,500. 2. 401k retirement account, $28,400. 3. Roth IRA account, $15,200. 4. Taxable brokerage account, $11,600. 5. Credit card debt, $0. You stop typing. You look at the final row of your spreadsheet. Your total net worth stands at $65,700. Your credit card balance, which sat at $8,500 with a 22.99% interest rate dragging down your financial life for years, was completely paid off 6 months ago using your debt avalanche strategy. Every single dollar that used to go toward paying interest to a bank is now flowing directly into productive, income-generating assets. Then, you do a calculation that changes the way you see your financial future forever. You pull up your investment portfolio's annual performance summary over the past 12 months. Across your 401k, Roth IRA, and taxable index funds, your total invested balance, $55,200, generated a broad market investment return of 11.2% this year. That means your money earned $6,182 in pure passive capital appreciation and dividend payouts over the last 12 months, without you working a single extra hour, making a single extra sales call, or sacrificing a single weekend. You divide $6,182 by 12 months. Your money is now generating $515 a month of pure passive income. You sit back in your chair, staring at that number. $515 a month covers your monthly grocery bill entirely, or it pays your electric bill, water bill, internet bill, and auto insurance combined. For the first time in your life, your money is working harder for you than you work to earn it. You have officially crossed the financial threshold where compounding is no longer just a theoretical concept in a book. It is an active physical engine working in the background of your life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Your phone lies face down on the counter next to your coffee mug. You do not open Instagram. You do not check what Julian is driving. You do not care what anyone on social media thinks about your lifestyle. You walk over to your window and look out at Charlotte's skyline. Bank of America's glass tower stands tall against the gray autumn sky. You no longer view that building with a sense of financial intimidation or quiet shame. You view it simply as a peer in a financial game where you finally know the rules. Chapter 9. the freedom no photo can capture. Tuesday comes again, exactly as it always does. You walk down South Tryon Street during your lunch break. The air is crisp and cool. You pass the same coffee shop where your card declined 3 years ago. You walk inside, order a cold brew, and tap your card against the reader. A quiet, soft chime sounds. The transaction clears instantly. You walk out onto the sidewalk, holding your drink, feeling the cool pavement beneath your shoes. Nothing about your physical appearance has dramatically changed. You are wearing a simple, high-quality jacket you paid for in cash. You drive a reliable, paid-off Honda Civic. You do not wear a Rolex watch. You do not carry a luxury designer bag. If someone passed you on the street right now, they would not look twice. They would not mistake you for a millionaire. They would assume you are just an ordinary employee walking back to an ordinary office job. And that is the ultimate secret of real financial independence. Wealth is not about buying expensive things to project an image of success to people you do not even like. Wealth is the absolute, unshakable peace of mind that comes from knowing you own your time. Wealth is knowing that if your company announces layoffs tomorrow morning, you have a liquid emergency fund that protects you for 6 full months without panic. Knowing that your retirement is compounding on autopilot in broad market assets, that human productivity will drive higher over decades. Knowing that you will never again lie awake at 2 a.m. sweating over a credit card statement or a minimum payment deadline. Knowing that you have quietly built a reservoir of financial freedom that nobody can see, nobody can take away from you, and nobody needs to validate. You take a sip of your coffee and take a deep breath of the crisp afternoon air. If you are sitting there today, if your card has declined, if you are carrying high interest debt, if you feel like you are standing miles behind everyone else on your social media feed, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are simply playing a game with rules designed to make you lose. The moment you stop competing for short-term status is the exact moment you start winning the game of real wealth. Stop buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. Start building the invisible reservoir. Automate your savings, eliminate your bad debt using the debt avalanche, grab your employer match, invest systematically in broad market index funds, and let time do the heavy lifting. Pick one single action today. Open the high-yield savings account. Set up the $50 automatic transfer. Sign up for the 401k match. What is the single financial rule you are going to commit to automating this week? Leave a comment below, subscribe to join this community, and let's quietly build real freedom together.